Hi there, and welcome to the second video in my series about Fusion 360 design for hams. Today we're going to look at parametric designs. A parametric design means that your model is driven by some sort of input parameter. For example, a formula that is calculated which changes the size of some part of your model. I'm going to keep it really simple, but it's also a very powerful tool that will help you make some more advanced designs. This is not very useful for one-offs, but it's very useful if you would like to have a box that you, for example, change the size of depending on the contents. You could, in theory, also input an entire antenna in here and calculate all the lengths based on the frequency. The same as you do in an online antenna calculator, you can do within Fusion 360, and I'll show you just some of the basics for that. So let's get on to designing something really simple. What we're going to make today is a really simple cube. I've already designed this up, but I'll delete it again so you see what I'm doing just from scratch. So this is a blank part in Fusion 360. Let's go in and make a square in here, just a 2-point rectangle. And for simplicity's sake, let's make this 10 by 20 millimeters, something like that. Then go up to finish sketch and we extrude it to 30 millimeters so that we have something that's 10 by 20 by 30. It doesn't matter if it's millimeters, meters, inches, feet, whatever. You'll see why later. And as you saw now, I just entered the dimensions normally. Just type them in and they're static dimensions, if you can call it that. If we would like to change those to parameters or to formulas, just double click this again, and you can see in here it says distance 30 millimeters. Doesn't matter if you do it out here or over here in this side menu. And say we would like this to be 3 times 10 millimeters. So we just enter 3 times 10, and that is 30 millimeters. That's a really basic input, and it's not very useful. So let's do it a bit more advanced. Go in here, press S on your keyboard, and then enter parameter. And you can see you get up this design shortcuts menu and change parameters. And in here, click here, and let's say this to be base length. And let's call that 10. And you can see here, unit is millimeter. You don't need to add a unit, but you can. In this case, it's actually a length. But say you wanted to input a frequency, you would go with no units. And then this would just be some sort of multiplier. So our base length is 10. So go back here and let's double click here again. And you can see here, it also added the millimeter in here for you. So it does change the formula. Just delete this here 3 times and then enter base length and click this one. And you can see now it says fx, means it's a formula. Press OK. And this is still a 10 by 20 by 30 millimeter one. We can also do the same inside the sketch. So we can say that this one is 1 times base length. And press enter. And you can see now this is fx 10. Just to swap this up, to show you some of the other options you are here. You can see that this one is called D6. This one is called D5. So you can go in here, double click this, and call this 2 times D5. And that is 2 times that dimension. You can also delete it and type 2 times and just click this dimension here. And that inputs the name of that dimension. Or you could change it back to base length. But for this example, we'll show this. Press enter and finish sketch. So to measure this one here, just go in here and you can see this is 30 millimeters. So let's go back to parameters. And let's change this one to 15 millimeters instead. And if we now measure this one, it's going to be 3 times 15, which is 45. And you can also expand this a lot more. So say we would like to calculate something in here and we want some frequency. Say we want the square root of a frequency for some reason or other. Let's just go in here and call this frequency. We're not going to care about the unit for this one. There's probably something in here about frequency. Yeah, it is. Hertz. But for this, we're going to do it unitless. It's simpler. So let's do the 6 meter FT8 frequency. Just 50.313. And that is frequency. And then let's add another one, which is square root of frequency. See, square root of frequency. I don't know what this would be useful for, but probably something like that. And then in here you have square root, which is a function. This adds parentheses, and then you can enter frequency here, and you can see it calculates it and press OK. So now you can use both the frequency and square root of frequency out here, if that would be useful. Probably you would need some more advanced calculations, but this is simple enough as an example. So I hope this was interesting and helpful for you. As you can see, this is a really powerful tool, or it can be if you need it in your designs. You can also do a lot more that I didn't show you here. I encourage you to play with this and see if this can be useful for you. But also, don't use it if you don't need it. It could be needlessly complicated, and if you have a really big model, it will of course slow your model down a bit. But you do have to have a really big one for that to be an issue. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you find it interesting. 7-3.